If you are a woman living her best hot mess express life while simultaneously crushing it, and you're craving more clarity, purpose, and excellence, get ready because you're in the right spot. I am your host, Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, and I want to welcome you to Season 2 of All Things Excellence, the podcast, where I'll be bringing you all the inspiration and insights your excellence-seeking heart desires. This season, I'm stepping back into chasing big, bold, and absolutely terrifying goals, sharing every honest step and misstep along the way. We're continuing our beloved Unscripted series, featuring live clarity coaching sessions with guests just like you, and diving deep into raw behind-the-scenes stories of powerhouse women founders I am wildly obsessed with, whose journeys will fuel your own. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hey, All Things Excellence fam. What a fun topic we're going to talk about today. I know you all just love that I take my crash, burn, and learn of life and then bring it to you in lessons and tips on how to be better and how to create more excellence in your life. And today we are going to talk about the permission to build in white space. So let's talk about Wednesday. My Wednesday, this past Wednesday, what I did, what ended up happening. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I had absolutely nothing on my schedule. And by Tuesday night, I realized this. I realized all day tomorrow, there's nothing that I have to do. There's nowhere I have to be, no meetings, no sessions, no nothing. I don't have to leave the house. I could literally sit and stare at the wall tomorrow if I wanted to. Now, are there a billion things that I could do and should do? Of course. But it could be this day of open white space, which I'd really been craving. We've just been running 1,000,000 miles an hour. It is full sports season with all sports at my husband's school. And that means we are in the thick of it. And I think anybody listening to this can resonate with being in those seasons where you're just in the thick of it. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say no to. It's just life. And life is always going to be busy and full, especially when you're surrounded by kids who have a lot of things. And so I stayed in my pajamas basically all day. I journaled. I worked on my vision board book. I read. I worked on, the biggest thing was though, y'all, is I worked on going, how the heck did I get here? Because I've been feeling like I am extremely overbooked, and that I wasn't having enough white space. And white space is that open space in your schedule that, no offense, but as a woman, you got to schedule that. You got to schedule your white space or you're never going to get it. And I found that if we do not create white space in our calendar, God is good and He will carve out the space for stillness when we refuse or forget to do that. It's kind of His way of making us slow down to speed up. And I even stayed up an extra hour late on Tuesday night to just extra clean the kitchen a little bit more and wrap up a few things for some clients, going, I want to walk into the day tomorrow. If you're going to give me this white space tomorrow, I'm going to walk into this with this full intention of asking myself, how the world did I get here, and what in the world do I need to pivot? Because I can't continue going like this. And I know for a fact that this isn't the best rhythm for me. It's not the best rhythm for my clients or my family. And so when I woke up Wednesday, that was the first thing I did. I just wrote down and went, how did I get here? How did I get here? What is going on that I am so booked, so solid with work stuff? And one of the things that I realized was that I had, really entered into a new industry over the last year, and it was greatly affecting my booking and holding rate and how many appointments I was having. So after 15 years of being in sales and coaching business owners within sales, which is different, how I was doing the coaching, I just wasn't looking at it from that perspective. Because it's more hands-on, kind of all over the place. It wasn't necessarily booking appointments, coaching appointments with them. And even the ones that it was just a very different structure. It wasn't actual paying clients. And where I was, feeling like I need to have specific holes for them to be able to book their appointments. So in sales, your book and hold rate is about 50%. And when my husband was working at Orange Theory as an Orange Theory manager, he did it in Texas and Dallas, and then he also did in Phoenix, up in Scottsdale, and it was across the board. So whether you are, a hotel, airplanes, doctors' offices, gyms, like Orange Theory, where it's more that boutique fitness where people are taking up a spot, the book and hold rate, the hold rate for every booking that you get really is 50% when it comes to sales. Now, what I had to realize yesterday was for coaching appointments, it is at least 75%, if not greater. 75% of those appointments that get booked definitely do hold. The majority of my clients are always holding their appointment. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that when you book a coaching appointment, you pay for that appointment right there up front. Also, most of these people, they're business owners and their schedule is way too full to be jumping all over the place. And they tend to be a little bit better. No offense, y'all. Actually, I don't even care. Offense, y'all. Business owners who work by appointments tend to be a lot better about holding their appointments because they know what it's like to live from one cancellation to the next. And then comes the podcasting industry, which has a 100% hold rate. You want to know why? Because there always has to be an episode. There's got to be an episode every Wednesday and Friday that come out. So nature of the beast, there's a 100% hold rate. So I went from having a 50% hold rate in everything that I did, booking holding rate, to a 75 and 100%. So somewhere like 90% of these appointments that I'm booking for my coaching and my podcasting, 90% of these appointments are holding. Well, I'm used to overbooking the heck out of my schedule and then being super freaking thrilled when 50% cancel and they aren't happening, or they reschedule, they cancel, they ghost, the whatever, because that's what I was taught. Like I literally had learned, like if you want to put the product on, because I was a product-based business. If you want to put the product on 30 people a month, you better book 60. Like that's just what it is right now. And so going into coaching and podcasting with that mentality was leaving me with a wildly booked schedule. So I had to adjust my expectations, but I also had to book my schedule. I realized like, okay, so if 90% of these appointments are going to hold, I don't need to be available as much for people to book appointments. I need to really reel in my availability. And when I'm doing that, knowing that for the most part, every single appointment that books during these times is definitely going to hold. So then number two, the second thing I did is I asked myself, what do I still want? You guys know how I am about yanking everything off the table and then seeing what fits back. Really looking at this going, okay, we are no longer in summer. It is fall. I'm starting again with soccer booster president stuff. We've got volleyball games and football games. Those are my two. Varsity volleyball and varsity football are my non-negotiables. Like if I have a job that doesn't allow me to go to those things, then I'm not going to like that job. So like those are my non-negotiables. I'm going to be at those things. It's where I enjoy the sports. It's where my husband's at. My winter sports are always going to be boys basketball and obviously boys soccer. And so, depending on, and then in the spring, it's baseball and softball. And so I always pick two varsity sports per season that I'm just a diehard, and I'm at all the games there supporting my husband's school and supporting him. And so I have to also now adjust accordingly. Like when I looked at what do I still want, what still earns a seat at the table this summer, that's so different than what is working in to my life right now. And so it's going, what do I still want to have at the table now that I'm in this season where all of this stuff is picking back up? What do I still have room for? It's like, do I still want to do my podcast? Do I still want to do coaching? How much coaching do I want to do? How many alignment edit clients, my package clients, am I willing to have? Podcasting, like what does it look like? Do I want to have more solo episodes or do I want to have more guest episodes? Because they take different time and bandwidth depending on which type of episode that it's going to be, my direct sales appointments, like what does that look like? Do I want to just be doing virtual? Do I want to be doing in person? Do I want to do a mix? If I do, like how many of those do I want to have? So then number three, the third thing that I did, I pulled out a fresh plan your week sheet. Now, this is one of the tools that normally is only available to my coaching clients, but I have made my coaching client tools available inside of the book club. So you guys can go to chelseadbc.com/book club. You can sign up for the $17 a month book club. You could sign up today and cancel tomorrow. It doesn't matter. But you could get in there, you get in the book club modules, and you could pull out these tools that I'm talking about. All these tools are always going to be inside the book club. So inside of there, I pulled out a fresh plan your week sheet, and I really looked at what does my average week look like. Now, I've done this a million times all my life. Y'all, for the last 40 years, I've been using this sheet since I was a tiny little kid with my colors and my markers because I grew up watching my mom use this plan your week sheet. I have watched Kobe take this sheet and take it to his soccer team. He recently, a couple weeks ago, taught on time management. Instead of having PE at his school, they have what's called academy. So the boys that are on his soccer team he has them 5 days a week. 3 days a week they're lifting, and 2 days a week they have either classroom instruction or they're playing out there on the field. Which, how cool is that you get to do that at the school? And again, it's called Academy. Really cool thing that they do at our public school district in our town. Love our school district. Love our town. Huge advocate. Again, y'all know, like, I'm here. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be supporting it. Heck, I left my house at 7 a.m. to go to a district community meeting just to support it. Love our school. Love our town. And so he's been teaching that to them. He's been teaching the time management that he has witnessed me learn from my mom growing up inside of direct sales, because she's always been in direct sales. And then he watched me teach this to thousands of of team members and customers inside of direct sales. And then now he's watched me, train hundreds of clients with this time management activity. He took it to his soccer team. I'm pulling out that exact same fresh sheet. But something I did that I've never done before was I said, gosh, well, wait a minute. I guess how much time do I ask myself, like, well, if I'm doing a fresh weekly plan sheet, how much time do I really need for these different things? So I did something I've never done before. Before I started writing all over this plan your week sheet, I wrote down all of my primary categories in my life. So for me, it was the podcast, right? And in podcasting, I've got to have like idea creating time, booking time, writing the episodes out, editing the episodes. I do have someone hired that physically edits the episodes, but like I've got to be going like, yes, I love this reel. No, I hate that reel. Like, yes, I love this description. No, I don't. Like, we don't just use ChatGPT on ours. Like, we are very hands-on, making sure that it's relevant and it sounds great and it sounds like us and it's my voice. I have to have recording time, right, to be recording the physical podcast. So I realized with the 2 episodes, I personally spend about 5 hours per episode, and my executive assistant also spends about 5 hours per episode. So we're looking at a total of 20 hours a week, but 10 of it is really mine personally. So I had to put 10 hours a week that I'm spending on producing a podcast. Then I looked at my alignment edit clients. That's about 10 hours a week. I only take 8 alignment edit clients at once, which how it usually pans out is about 10 hours per week by the time I'm having appointments with them, because they're not all weekly. Most of them are they're having an appointment, every 2 to 3 weeks. Some of them are weekly. But again, looking at about an average of 10 hours a week. Looking at my direct sales, I decided, what do I want to do? How much time am I willing to put in? And when am I willing to put this time in? Because it's something I still love. I still enjoy. I love being engaged in this business where I'm helping other women grow their business and also helping other women make extra money, helping other women increase their confidence. I think it's one of the best things that I can do to constantly be really bringing fresh in the field information to this podcast. And I realized like that takes about 20 hours a week, because inside that direct sales career, I have customer management, but then I also have team management. So I've got those 2 different parts that each take about 10 hours a week. So 20 hours a week there. I looked at our book club. I'm reading books, recording the segments, researching it, hosting webinars, posting, creating journal prompts, making sure I'm connecting with people and commenting all over the comments in our Facebook community. And that takes about 10 hours a week. I have 2 different clients where I work with some of their marketing stuff. And depending on the week, that can look like anywhere from 15 to 20 hours a week, helping them. I'm at our school 2 nights per week on average with about 10 hours a week. And then of course I've got workout, sauna, and Pilates. So that's a solid 7 hours a week. I'll tell y'all, when I looked at this, one of the best things I did was start working out at home and doing the sauna at home 4 days a week because of how much time it's actually saving me. And then I did reserve 3 hours for the Pilates on Friday. I reserved 10 hours a day for sleep. And here's why. I make sure I get a very serious, perfect 8 hours of sleep a night. It's what makes me the best energetically. It helps me be the best with creativity. Everything is designed around my sleep. I literally put it first, because if I am not well rested, I'm not a great leader. I'm not a great wife. And straight up at the end of the day, y'all, my well-rested mind is the most creative, on point, wildly strategic, pattern-seeking missile that you've ever met. So in order for me to give my clients the strategy and the structure and just the guidance that they deserve, I've got to be well-rested. And there's a book called Leading on Empty by Wayne Cordero. And he always talks about how today started yesterday. What was that evening routine, right? Like, how did you set your night up? How much sleep did you get? And depending on how you treated your body last night is going to dictate your productivity of today. So I reserved 10 hours because I had to have 8 hours of sleep, but it takes me about 2 hours to wind down and really for my brain to get to this place where actually it will sleep. And so y'all have heard me say this. Get really freaking grounded in reality as to what you need to do and how much time something takes and how you need to set your life up to be the best. And so I had to be honest and go like, okay, this is a 10-hour a day situation for me to be my best the other 14 hours. And so that's 70 hours a week. I carved out my quality time. You guys know I go out to my patio. Sometimes it's like 20 minutes, but sometimes it's like an hour and a half. That Sundays, I usually give myself quite a bit of time. So I carved out 10 hours daily 10 hours for the week with quiet time. And pretty much when you add all that up, it added up to 160 hours. And I was like, okay, cool. So I have 8 hours left to cook and shower and get ready and stare at the wall on Sundays, because Say Less Sunday for me is that just absolutely staring at the wall, right? So I'm like, okay, we're fitting date night and everything else inside of all of that. Like, this is great. It was a little daunting to realize that, but it was also getting me grounded in reality of like, girl, you literally cannot say yes to one more thing. When your yeses are planned, your nos are easy. So when somebody comes to me and they're like, can you help with this? Can you volunteer with this? Can you add this thing on your plate? I mean, even if it's like, hey girl, like you should start coming to this new Wednesday Pilates class or this new Wednesday yoga class. Unfortunately, the answer is already no, because my 168 hours in a week are already allocated. They're done, they're taken up. And the only way that I can add something new to my schedule, very obviously, if you would look at the sheet, is I would have to take something away. And there's nothing on the sheet that I'm currently willing to take away. So I highly recommend that activity. It's a little daunting. It was a little overwhelming. Even for me, I was going, oh my, okay, all right. My schedule's actually quite literally packed to the gills. We will not be adding any other thing inside of this. And remember, guys, I've got date night in church with my husband in here, and I've got, spending time with him at the school, which is like my volunteering hours. I've got great sleep. I've got great, quiet time, devotional journaling time in here. So it's great boundaries. It's just very already full. I might be, a woman without her own kids, but trust me, my schedule's already there and it's already full, helping everybody else, live their best life. Real quick, before we dive back in, I want to share something I created for the women who are growing, but still kind of feel like they're doing it alone. If that statement just hit, then this is for you. I've never felt so aligned and so alone, is the message I kept hearing as more and more women were falling in love with their life doing what they were born to do. They were craving that like-minded, iron-sharpening iron relationship with other women who were as focused, powerful, and determined to be positive as they were. And that is why I created the Growth Collective. It's our All Things Excellence book club community where you don't have to read the book because audio and PDF Cliff Notes are provided for you. There's a community for you to connect and network with other growth-minded women, plus 2 monthly Zooms where you receive connection and live coaching from me. head on over to chelseadbc.com/book club to join us. All right, let's get back into it, because what you're hearing today is exactly why spaces like the Growth Collective exist. We were never meant to grow alone. So I did that. I wrote everything down, and then I flipped it over and I started on the plan your week side. And I always start and fill out the plan your week sheet in order of priority. So the plan your week sheet is literally a sheet that's like Sunday through Saturday, and you can make it 5 or 6 a.m. to 10 or 11 p.m. Whatever you want, where it's the entire day in 1 hour blocks. And you're sketching out just a very loose idea of how you're spending your time in the week. And again, think about how my husband did this. He did this with the boys as to what hours are you at school? When are you at club practice? When are you getting the right amount of sleep? When are you practicing for your other practices? When are you doing your homework? So again, no matter your age, it just helps you get grounded in reality as to when are you going where and how are you spending that time? So, first for me, the number one thing I always do when I sit down with a plan your week sheet is I cross out Sunday. Sunday is always say less Sunday. It's just, me recharging. I spend as much time in my quiet time as I absolutely want to. We've started with football being on Fridays right now. We tend to go get groceries on Sunday afternoon. We're a Saturday night church family. And so then we spend the rest of the day together. Usually we're two major projector introverts. Y'all, we pick a Netflix series and we binge that sucker, and we lay on the couch and we binge it, and we just recharge our energy, and it feels so great and wonderful. But that's the first thing that I do. Then I go and I fill in, date night in church on Saturday night. Then I go back and I put my weekly set meetings, like I have my social media trainings on Mondays, and I have my weekly meeting with my executive assistant on Mondays, things like that. Put Pilates on Fridays, right? Things that are immovable because they are set events that happen every week. Nothing I can do about it. Then I carved out 2 days a week for coaching and podcast recording. It's the same hat mentally that coaches clients and records a podcast episode. Obviously, sometimes we have our unscripted episodes, which are literally coaching, right? So I carved that out. So I've always had those on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'd started opening it up and letting some appointments happen on other days. And I just realized those other days have to be so taken up by these other tasks. I've got to reel that back in and really make sure I'm scheduling my coaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I put 8 spots for the month for my direct sales appointments. Some are in person and some are virtuals, but I put them very specific times. We're talking Tuesday at 5 and 7 and Saturday at 10 and 2. The virtual are Tuesday and 5 at 7 and the Saturday are in person at 10 and 2. And you guys, I have no problem being really, really rigid about that. You do not tell a dentist when you want to come in. They tell you when they're open and when they're available. Same with a hairstylist, everybody, that's how you do. If you're available all of the time, one, you kind of look like nobody books with you. But 2, that level of boundaries or lack thereof in the long run will cause you to be so disheveled. You will resent your business so much that you will want to quit. You will be miserable. So even in the beginning, even when you're building a brand and you're building a business, you always have to remember to implement this structure, because I see a lot of people that say, I just need to get this going. If I can just get this up and going, it's going to be wild and crazy, but eventually it'll level out. But the problem is that we train people how to treat us. So if you are building the foundations of your business, training all of your clients and all of your people on treating you that you're available 24/7, you're going to have a really hard time correcting them. And honestly, probably never are. And I tell you, y'all, I swear to you, you will hit burnout before you ever get to a point where you feel like you can start pulling back. You will burn out before you ever allow yourself to pull back. So you have to create a schedule from step 1 that fits your family's lifestyle. Then I built an entire day of the week that is mine. This is a brand new thing. I used to have this back in the day, 15, oh my gosh. Yes, 15 years ago when I really started, really going after it, being an entrepreneur. For 5 years I stuck with this. I called it work from home Wednesday. Every Wednesday was my day I was at home. I didn't have to put makeup on. I didn't have to get dressed. When we lived in Dallas, all the other days of the week, I was like dressed to the nines, heels, skirt, everything. And so this was that one day of the week where I didn't have to do that, where I could just be at home in, my leggings, no makeup, hair in a bun. And I am bringing that back because I started feeling like I was like coming in hot to everything, like coming in hot, figuring out what I was doing for the podcast episodes, coming in hot, like quickly, like going over everything that I needed for my coaching clients and leaping on their appointments, coming in hot with like, oh my gosh, we've got like next month's book club is coming up. Like, do I know the book? Am I advertising the book? Like, what am I doing? I started feeling very reactive in life instead of responding to life. And what that comes down to is not just, y'all know Monday is GSD day, Gish Done day, like where I like make a giant brain dump list and I go after that mother trucker and I just check off all the dumb little things from like laundry to scheduling appointments to, packaging orders and getting them out and all the tiny little tasks of the weekend and the week that have gotten shoved. That's where I kill that out on Monday. But Wednesdays are now officially the day of the week that is mine. They are my day to create. They are my day that at 3 o'clock, I'm going to quit for the day and I'm just going to check out for the rest of the day. A lot of times Wednesdays also sort of usually happen to be like sports days. So that really helps. But it's just that day I'm going to use to pause and breathe, create, read, catch up, dive into the book club stuff, work on my podcast, work on writing episodes, just like the beautiful creating things where is the mind and the mentality. Okay, so the capacity and the mentality, like the brain, part of your brain that you're using to execute and the part of your brain that you're using to create, for me, are two really, really different hats. And so I'm giving myself that permission that Wednesdays are going to be my create days. So that way I can have that day of white space to be the very best coach and podcaster and community leader and business mentor. Okay? I'm giving myself that permission. And I'm also reminding myself that, busy is not a badge of honor, right? We know that. Busy is not a badge of honor. And how busy I am does not dictate how successful my business is. And I guarantee y'all, the more you live in response instead of reactive mode, the more you focus on doing what is important instead of just attacking all the urgent fires. I promise you, if you will live that way in responding and doing things that are important instead of reacting and doing things that are urgent, I promise you that in the long run, your business will be so much more successful because your life will be so much more successful. You will be at so much more peace and life will be so much more sustainable. Okay? When we create a lifestyle that feels peaceful and sustainable, our businesses grow effortlessly because our energy is so magnetic. Then the fourth thing that I did was I reset my morning and evening routine. So again, our house schedule drastically changes with every sports season. So I've got to always be looking at this going, Kobe literally goes to work like drastically different times of the day, depending on the time of the year. So like right now, because it's football season and he doesn't get home until like 1, 2, 3 in the morning on Fridays, sometimes he's not going to work until noon or 1 on Fridays. Okay, well that's really changes what my morning looks like. Also, last year he was going into work every single day at like 6:30 in the morning, so my quiet time effortlessly started at 6:30. This year he leaves at 7:20. Like every day he's leaving at 7:20. And I just realized like my quiet time is not happening until he leaves. And anybody, like you got spouse, you got kids, whatever, you get it. Like it's just not going to happen. And he wakes up at 4:20. So me getting up before him is also definitely not going to happen, right? So I had to adjust. What does my morning and evening routine look like and when am I doing them? I reset the boundaries of when I'm booking appointments and when enough is enough. And getting going, okay, so if you've got to get 8 hours of sleep and this is the time you got to wake up, And it takes you 2 hours to like wind your brain down and get your evening routine done, like wash your face and brush your teeth. And right now I'm whitening my teeth. That's taking a little bit longer. And taking my magnesium and making sure our supplements are set out and making sure, like, is his lunch made for tomorrow? Like doing that whole like winding down the day 2-hour thing. When am I ending appointments? When are my last appointments of the day? When are those done? And is that creating the margin that allows me to have that 10-hour time and still wake up in order to have the morning routine that I want to have? So again, you guys remember the book Leading on Empty, Wayne Cordero, about today starting last night. And remember, the other thing that I do every evening is I do that brain dump. I write everything out that could possibly need to get done tomorrow, and I grab the top 3 and I write my top 3 non-negotiables at the top of the page. And this is on my daily intention sheet. My daily intention sheet is another tool that I use with coaching clients. My coaching clients, I create a custom one for them actually. But inside the book club, you can find the sheet, the generic daily intention sheet, where you can do that, where you can have a brain dump and you can pick your top 3 non-negotiables for the day and make sure that those are the top 3 things that you get done tomorrow. So in closing this out, y'all, again, so yes, like Wednesday, I asked myself, 1, how did I get here? 2, I asked myself, what do I still want? What still earns a seat at the table? Number 3, I pulled out a fresh plan your week sheet and I wrote down all the categories of life and how much time on average they're taking a week. How many hours per week are these different categories taking? I filled out my plan your week sheet in order of priority. Number 4, I reset my morning and my evening routine. And these are the 7 tips that I want you guys to remember. 7 little mantras, okay? 7 little mantras for you. 1, sometimes we need to slow down to speed up. Sometimes we need to slow down to speed up. Number 2, busy is never a badge of honor. The success of your business is not dictated by how many hours you're hustling and grinding a day. Not that I don't love a good hustle and grind, but that's not what dictates it. Your energy does. Number 3, rest and white space are your critical engine superpower. Rest and white space. Building in that white space to give your time to just think and be and breathe and create. They are your critical engine, your superpower. Number 4, an overflowing schedule doesn't prove your worth. It just proves that you have terrible boundaries. An overflowing schedule does not prove your worth. It only proves that you have terrible boundaries. Number 5, confident women with high self-assurance have no need to validate their actions. And I want to remind you that you are a confident woman. 6, putting yourself first so you can be the best you for your kids, significant other, friends, spouse, career is the very best gift that you will ever give them. Slap that oxygen mask on first, friends. A spent, exhausted, sideways, hot, crazy, wild mess express woman is never that great for everyone. Oxygen mask first. And number 7, drumroll, no is a full sentence. No is a full sentence. Because remember, confident women have no need to validate themselves. And no is a full sentence. All right, y'all. If you listen to this today, you got a bunch of great tips. I love hearing about it. Hop over to Instagram, Chelsea DBC, shoot me a message. I want to know how today hit for you. I want to know what you're using out of it. If you listen to this and you're like, I literally am so overwhelmed, I actually wouldn't even know where to start. Great place to start is honestly just a little 30-minute session, you and I could help you get some of this done in 30 minutes, or you can do a full 90-minute session and we could really dive in. But links in the bio, head there, schedule it with me. I would love to help you create a little bit more peace, ease, joy, and structure in your weekly schedule. And again, y'all, no is a full sentence. Thanks All Things Excellence fam for listening, and we will talk to all y'all next time. Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step,
or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you, and my intro clarity call is a great place to start because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.